Welcome to Nacht Waffen Pilot, and today my guest is Sean Bond from the Psionic League. Welcome,
Hey,
Sean.
how's it going, everybody? Good to be here. Like your background. Um, yeah, excited. I'm interested in what you may bring up today. The questions unlock the greater stuff. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, we kind of fished out what was going to be on the agenda today, but not details. So, hey. Come on, guys. You guys know that I don't go into these completely cold turkey. I do talk to these people. Sean has been a friend of mine somewhere between 3 and 6 years. We've kind of lost track of when it started. And I can't go back and check my profile because Facebook had deleted that profile. So, a lot of my records that I had counted on being there are gone now. But this is going to be something that I hate to admit to people because I have all these layers of shielding up, right? Most of them are mirrored. So if people get through the outer layers, they're basically just seeing themselves in the mirror. Not Sean. I don't have to drop my shields for Sean. He just kind of marches right on in and sees whatever he needs to see and marches himself right back out and closes the hole behind him. This is impressive, people. Seriously impressive. So he is one of the best psychic readers that I have ever encountered. And he's one of the people I send you to if you have issues that I can't handle. So that should tell people right off the gate, this is a man I respect and trust. So, you know, I send you people, they say, oh, Penny sent me. Don't they?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So,
And people your SSP page a bunch too. So thank you for having it and hosting.
well, yeah. One of the things that I have found really snarky about our community is that so many of us think it's a competition, and it shouldn't be. If you know somebody that's good, recommend them. That's no skin off your butt. You know, you know? Seriously. Um, there,
Everyone's good at different things.
exactly. I am not so good at, okay, I can go into the people's shields, but I have trouble getting back out. And I really don't like staying connected to a bunch of strangers. It's draining after a while. So I'm admitting I'm not good at that part, so I'm not doing this. So I'm going to send you to someone who is good at that, which is Sean. So I know that you've done a couple of readings on me in the past, and I really don't want to go into all that information.
Yeah, I got you.
And
Hush.
I'm kind of weird, like you didn't know that already. But Sean is in my private SSP group. And this is not the big group I used to be in. This is a smaller group that is cherry-picked people that can get along, play well together. Our community has an issue with programming to not get along with each other. And I believe that was on purpose so that we would not unite against the CIA. So if you can imagine how dangerous a bunch of psychics could be if we could actually get along. Yeah, yeah, I got scolded about that last night by someone in the group that, well, why isn't so and so in the group? Because that particular person went on a messenger thing and was telling people that she was going to leave my group because I was a bitch, but she wanted to stay friends with them. And they sent me screenshots, and I said, so I'm a bitch. Fine. Bye. So yeah, I do have a little bit of an ego left. So
Everyone does, even gods, even like anyone. It's like a lot of people just like try to get rid of it and like, oh, I'm above that now. It's like if you want to get out of ego, it's like maintain the thought that you are everyone all the time, and it's hard. Like a lot of stuff like comes in, so it's like, oh, how do I file that and then differentiate myself from the pain, like creating altars. Like then we reflect that back on because projection, because our shadow onto the other person. So a lot of drama demons, like you said, will come in and stop us from being united because that ends the game.
yeah, I've been trying to gather the people who are able to work together regardless of their personal feelings, their alters, their egos.
Mm.
And the public doesn't realize how hard that is for us. I mean, seriously, I have the utmost respect for any group of these guys who are able to maintain long-term friendships, because we have this programming to not. And the programming was set up to keep us alone and isolated and in fear. And what happens? We clump together and make friends, and we're succeeding anyway. And maybe we're not succeeding with everybody, but we're succeeding with some. And so that's like a major big deal.
Absolutely. It's
So
like huge and unseen. Just gets rid of ends wars. Like people have no idea. Like all the people that it's like a big witness protection agency, this planet for like overpowered spirits, both light, dark, and neutral. And then like, oh, who are they? I don't even know who I am now. And like like that allows all these people that are like flag holders for soul families to end up here and come to peace with their greatest enemy in like
yeah,
some weird randomization.
yeah. I've had issues as I remembered, because who I was in past lives, um, most people think that's evil. And here on Earth, I'd always been a church mouse until my memories came back, and it was like, I've been a pretty good kid. Why is all this shit happening to me? So yeah, I find karma's real, by the way, guys. If you were a bastard in a past life, you're gonna pay for it eventually.
It's
Usually in a
trauma.
lifetime, whenever you've decided to be good.
Right. It's like somebody will maintain that drama and then they'll come back and do something, or like a greater system that's holding space if you're dumping on the things around you. It's all about like natural law of
Can
do
you
no harm to others.
talk into your mic?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I've
it's
been
all about do no harm to others and like, oh, why would you harm yourself if you're part of the universe? And then the melodrama of the game allowing both to grow and uh, how do we get past all the mesh of things being projected on us to resolve the past from those times we went on binges of whatever we wanted to do, and then how to maintain 100% free will while not having to, you know, deal with the drama of the past while resolving it, and then maintaining our ability to not create more of it.
Yeah, it's the not creating more of it that's hard. That has been the most difficult part for me, the not creating more of it, because this ego that we were talking about, you have this instant response that you have to just stop it before it goes out the mouth. And I'm sitting there a lot of the times going, I can't say that. I can't say that. If I say that, I will wish to God I had not said it.
That shows you have the coping mechanism, and you have the reading room sense, and like you see the eggshells of dancing around other people's egos, and you're able to like, oh, they have triggers for that. Oh, okay, I'll see if I can dance around that.
Yeah, I'm trying. And then one of them will deliberately take a hammer to my eggshell, and then it's like the war is on. Speaking of, we talked about this. I've been dealing with legit curses since Christmas, and I've removed it 3 times. And this is a serious set of things because one person has already died from trying to help me. And I've been doing...
No pressure.
Huh?
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, I'm really, really, really frustrated and angry and pissed that this man who had been nothing but good to me ended up dying because he was trying to help me with the effects. And he left a widow and 7 children. And so this is something that has seriously upset me. And it's rolled over into other things because I've been angry that he was killed in my place. And that's made me bitchier than usual. That's a polite way of putting it. And less able to control the mouth. And I've watched this ripple over into the community, and I've been really upset about the whole situation. And I've done, in the terminology, I've done return to sender spells. And I've done them 3 times, and each time I'll have about a week that everything's resolved, and then it comes back. So how do I keep it from coming back?
May I tune into?
Do what?
May I tune into? Like psychically, can I tune into?
Sure.
Because I asked for it. Okay. Yeah, let me just read this. There's a few, and like, do you know what? So when did this start?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. What were you doing before? That you like, if you intuitively like, oh, what would have this motivation to start this cursing now?
I received a warning in November that I was, quote, scaring the slaves.
Oh my God! What a response.
That was
tell they're elite.
Yeah, you can tell who it came from just by the wording.
You're scaring the slaves. Just calm down.
the whole thing was, you look like a vampire. You're talking about vampires, and you're scaring the slaves.
Oh, is it so? Yeah, it's one of the vampiric people.
No, it was the elites, but that was the terminology they used.
Yeah, because there's like different varieties of vampire. The sanguine is probably the most rare, but there's a lot of like people that drink blood, and so the variety of type of parasite mindset is in
flux with no matter what DNA they have, as they can get a cult into it. But you know, then the Chi vampires and all that. But yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So let's see.
Yeah, I know who I'm dealing with.
I'm gonna track this back. Did you get any other like information about who they might have been? Like any other details? I'm gonna see if we can find them.
Stewart family. I told you they were elites. I'm not going to name the person on air.
And so your friend tried to help you with this and then died?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of edit this for public.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's an entanglement trap involved in it. So meaning there's a big apex predator multidimensionally behind, like puppet master behind a lot of this. And the goal is to not look at it or pay attention to it as you detach from it. Because entanglement traps, if you fight them or entangle with them more and more, the bigger they get. So it's like a big energy harvesting being that is involved in probably multiple planets. So no pressure.
No pressure.
So the method with this is to start detaching all your energies, parts, stolen stuff, involvement, the wounds themselves. There will be a big entanglement with that. Everyone involved, and you're going around uniting with every one of the victims to this in energy harvesting system, and uniting them all to detach and drain the parasite predator from existing. And then we slowly all detach, shrink it down, and then fade it out of reality. So we like you can, like, when dealing with these, you ask like, oh, what am I allowed to know that doesn't entangle me more with it? Oh, it's parasitic. It's like a vampire thing. It's tangled with elite. Oh, great. Okay. And then like how many beings are entangled with us in our energy harvesting system? There's quite a bit. Let's say about the 9 planets plus and a bunch of realms that this being has been hacking into, like mostly hell realms within some of the planets. And then because it has energy harvesting systems that are anchored there, and it's got multiple sparks, it's got fractured out like a Horcrux, continuing its existence. Yeah, so we drain the source of its power. There's a lot of different ways to resolve curses. Anyone that is dealing with curses, I have the ability to help you. I've had to deal with a lot, and then like taking them apart and all that. And it's like, to break it down, it's like there's different methods and modalities of resolving them. And if you're getting into it, you want to be able to disarm them because they have booby traps. When you deal with them, and then it triggers a bunch of things that can go from small variety of like rashes, warts, like witches, and going into even death. So, or like tons, usually will first be like tons of attack, something trying to monitor it, and there'll also be booby traps to based on the monitoring of the curse, see if someone's trying to remove it and then try to replace it. So you also got to get rid of the motivation behind it, their awareness. If you have to end up on a do not fuck with list on everyone involved, that's also potential. You can even go back in time before they knew about you and prevent them from, or less people from knowing about you. If you have time ability.
How do I get on a do not fuck with list?
Well, it depends on the group. If it's the, humans are kind of, have a lot of big swinging dick syndrome, like when they're dark sorcerers and all that, and then like they're barely aware of anything most of the time, and their demons possessing them and all that are the most aware thing. That just whispers stuff, and it's not even guaranteed to be true. So whatever. And it's all stolen authority, external. It's not internally sourced, which I recommend in magic. That's much better. So if Draco, if it's a whole species, it's way easier. You get either the level, you can do either one. It's a little bit, I don't know, it depends on the person. They can either do it in the love route where, oh, that guy is a love, like if you like the Draco want to keep their empathy from being turned on. So the elite kind of like try to avoid that. So you could like turn them to your side with love, or you could destroy enough of them to where it's like, oh, you lose more than you gain from entangling with it. So like keep a distance. Also, especially if you end up being on a category of, oh, the more they entangle, the more motivation that the person you're attacking has to go after you specifically. I'll do either one. I kind of combine them together. I try to do the love thing until it's like they don't learn from anything else kind of beings, which are rare, but I'll still get those. And they're kind of like deeply insane, and it's interesting. But yeah, you're already on a few do not fuck with lists. And it's expanding each time you like do they enter your game, and then you you screw them up.
All that stuff I've been doing has put me on some lists.
Yeah, and you can like monitor that too. I'm probably not allowed to see all of them, but like at the moment I can see like, well, I'm not allowed to talk about all of them, but
Okay.
like a strategy at least over 10 for sure. You're in different species that are like warned not to go after you, and then they become a target. And your macro self is very powerful. So like your higher self anchored into you that expands throughout the multiverse. Right now, you're going throughout multiple solar systems doing stuff. And you got a lot of authority in different places. This realm right here is kind of a weird increase of rules and difficulty level experience that like shuts down a lot of abilities from existing and permeating here easily without like a tremendous amount of force and things agreeing with you to do that. Every time I like try to do a big outburst in this realm of energy, that it gets like, oh, my higher self's like, oh, you should do that. It'll attract attention, other things. So I got to do it at a level that's like camouflaged. So it's like a lot of holdback. And then if you
I
find
keep
like the
being
layer,
told I have to honor free will.
yeah, and then there's a big chocolate souffle game here for the humans awakening, and they have to take their power back themselves. Otherwise, the whole point of it is to stop giving our free will away to external saviors,
Yeah.
and like take it into our own power. It's like a big switch that goes off in everyone's brain with the 100 monkey effect when it goes into full swing, and then it becomes a lasting thing throughout history that maintains our freedom. But yeah, this realm is weird. It has to like maintain this melodrama of what we're going through, and it will keep everything out, and it will reverse things in time if you do stuff that goes against the scheme of it. Good and dark and neutral kind of like colliding to form this, but there's a lot of room for improvement. Like things will hold back the awakening. That doesn't need to exist, but like people keep waiting for the aliens. Like that's a specific point in time. Once we reach a critical mass in our own taking back of our authority, or the negative elite will use it as an excuse to like distract everyone when there's too much things going on. But yeah, in other
You
realms
mean
you can
like
do like
telling me I'm scaring the slaves?
yeah. Well, scaring the slaves to what, their dark secrets. Right? And then
Yeah.
yeah, so in other realms, if you can have earned more authority, then like this takes a lot. There's a lot going on here. But other ones you can like you can just like initiate a command and then, like it starts to play out if you observe it, especially if you
Mhm.
earned it. Like you've been in different places and gone to the level that you needed to in those places where it was you could do a lot in force and fate, in birthing, divinity, love, and even like the realm like where you talk to me, where some species will think perceive you as similar to a demon, which is like oh, that goes into your death authority. Um, so there's different things.
Yeah, death authority is something I know well, yes.
Yeah, I've had
Like
to
I
as
said,
well.
I have been places that normal people out there are gonna wonder what the fuck I am.
Yeah, there were like wait the book of description for each person. You're like, what are you? No, I was like, oh, you read my manual.
Yeah, I have come to the conclusion that I am a fractal of a construct that was created to do a job that would have destroyed my actual higher self. And so in some ways, I'm expendable, but in other ways, my construct that I'm part of has all the abilities that my actual higher self did. And she's a creator being. And so,
So are you talking about like like the military programming you to, do you say to destroy your higher self or like to prevent destruction?
the thing that I was used for was so that my abilities would be channeled into what the CIA wanted rather than what my soul mission was.
Makes
And so the whole thing was block and bypass. And I've managed to get back on the path for my mission in spite of them. You knew that. You're smirking.
right. So you got a quite a bit of equation in this. I find there's a secret war in everyone that's
Mhm.
similar to what you're talking about. You have a unique flavor to it with the more expanded knowingness of it. Because so everyone has like this weird puzzle why they're here and what's been going on, what's been fighting them, what the fighting has been to like undermine them or take away their authority out of the reality, and then like make it darker. Like if you were to like see the difference of the timeline if you weren't in it, if your entire macro self wasn't in it, and then like them trying to make a chess move to undo that, but you then flipping it on them. What did you gain through them stepping in your game and then you taking down their game and still like following how back what fell into your trap goes? If that, you don't mind, you don't have to answer every aspect of that.
I have to think about that one a minute. What have I gained from it? I have gained the respect of the beings who made the construct to the point that they have sent guards to protect me. And that's where some of the do not fuck with came from. I fulfilled part of the mission and should have died at the time, and that would have been September 2019. And I did black out and came to with a celestial being transfusing me with his own chi. And that's why I'm here today. Um, I think I told you about that at the time. Um, that was a total freak out moment. So yes, I do talk about those with certain friends I trust. And I've had people that I thought I could trust when I would share a freak out moment with them, that they would unfriend me, block me, and then tell everyone that would listen. So there's a very tiny group of people that I share this stuff with. But that was something I was expected to die during and didn't. And so that's been part of the benefit, is that I'm pulling this off, therefore I'm still here. So I've been dead 7 times and I'm still here. So that's got to be part of it.
Needed here.
Although the Germans in space have told me during one of the escapades where High Command picked me up, I was informed, oh, if you die on Earth, we will rephone, time travel, and pick you up and take you to Mars and regenerate you, and you will be working with us until we can no longer regenerate your body. Now, I have a question. Is the Time Corps going to allow that?
Are you wanting to die?
I would like to be free at some point.
Okay, so that's a good question. That's a delicate thing because it's like, well, allowance. Okay, I'll ask that to them, but like I'd like to also like what's your pain level right now? Because you also like went into like I wanted to like continue down the curse thing. I'll send that as a message to them to get the response because you want it specifically from them, so that's fine. I can kind of represent them, but I'm not like the entireness.
Okay.
But yeah,
my
what's your pain level from 1 to 10?
I've been having spinal issues for decades. I get epidurals for them, and my last epidural was in January and it has worn off. And that is the focus of the curses, is to bring pain to my spinal issues.
Okay, so what is it now from 1 to 10?
From 1 to 10, it's been sitting at a 7 for the last 3 weeks.
May I help you release it?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll start releasing it. I'll look into what it needs. Okay. You got like a lot going on with it. So let me know as it starts to go down from 1 to 10 as I start to release it. Well, I'll give you a few things on it. Let's see, 1, 2, there's another curse. So I'm going to unite with you now to resolve a lot of the cursing. I'm going to see a 2 geometries around you: octahedron, diamond, and icosahedron. Have those spin counterclockwise around your spine, and like the program to release all the pain, like a steam valve out of your spine, like releasing faster and faster, and then the smaller one. And then you're going to after you let it all out, you're going to transmute all that pain into something else. Let's see. Healing energy it wants to become. So we're going to flip it. The pain is a yang force that's very like explosive. So we're going to flip it by like putting love into the center of it. So as you feel the pain, kind of like center into it with your focus, or like, besides when we're talking, and kind of like give it love, like you're hugging into the pain, embracing the pain like an old friend. I've been through like things, you've been extraordinary amounts of pain for a long period of time, and nothing can do anything except you embracing it in the hug and treating it like an old friend, and then you going into center of it with love, and then giving it what it needs, and then it starts to transmute into something else that it wants to be, like the opposite, healing energy. could transmute into power, magic, all this kind of stuff, depending on what it wants to be. And then you come into the collective consciousness unity with the elemental essence of pain itself. And then once you get to a greater level with that, in like loving yourself, loving that pain, understanding the pain is like an indicator of needing attention. I'm reading, you're correct with the curse. And we're getting beyond, yeah, so it needs, yeah. So love, so go ahead and hug yourself if you can, while like breathing deeply, and then pressurizing your breath to like put all this energy into the center of that pain, and flipping into a yin kind of like compressing force of healing energy. And then it'll start to like shrink down. Let's see. Also going back in time, preventing this curse from sticking to you. And they're going to be shrinking that down out of your bubble of reality. Then I'm looking at the beings that are doing this. Okay, so that's I'd say this warrants, like, since it seems like a death curse that you're compressing and resolving. Since it's taken somebody's life, you have every right to then flip this back in like a one of those, oh, do not fuck with me things. You have like natural law in example is do no harm, take no shit. You have no karmic backlash to you if you're defending yourself or ones you love. You're in this case both, and then like we putting it back in a level where they can, because like there's some screwed up things with death psionics on this planet, where a lot of beings invaded and then devoured the authorities of the planet for different things like order and management and even death. So like, why do the good die young? Well, it's not in order. So then that would go back to whose authority did this get stolen from? It's not theirs. Okay, I'm looking. And then we like become friends with the original authority. Oh, nice. Okay. 3, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh. I'd say Hella.
I
So
know
she,
her.
yeah. So
I'm sorry, I blurted that out.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I know her too. And she's a lot. She's the
she's
main. Go ahead.
she's actually a really good person.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I love her.
She runs the place where normal people go when they die. Not the bad, not the really good, but normal people. And she brings them to a point of peace where they're willing to come back and reincarnate. That's a blessing.
Oh yeah, she's like an incredibly strong spirit that is asked by Earth to hold space for multiple realms. Like, so she exists more than just in the physical form. She's made herself, like in spirit, into the main consciousness of multiple realms, such as her realm hell, and then also the this realm's like what people call the hellish realm. So the Norse one is like the normal people, like you said. She also has well, she has quite a few, because she's like known for being able to do that. So even before this planet, but those are the two that I'm allowed to talk about.
Yeah, she's a very powerful being, and she has the good of her realm in mind.
Yeah, she's very important. So something's, let's see, something's stealing her authority, and then I'd go back to like when that happened around Atlantis fall, so like where every other being got a big wound as well. So, excuse me, you go back in time, resolve that with its entanglement trap, make a big trap with her, like to like stop the being that would steal her stuff, like a spirit spark of her authority kind of thing. And and we make a big, we send it to a big quarantine realm because it can't fit in hers. So I think a universal realm would be good. And then a big like destruction consequence boundary agreement in crossing of her authority. Yep, okay. Yeah, the authority is still valuable, so anyone that gets it, there's like different parts from different authorities around the planet that have been stolen, such as Earth. I'd recommend people start with. If you can get these back, they get a big reward. And that'll drain this being's authority, and then we'll also like put up a big bounty and unity in realization. Oh, everyone detached from this big parasite, and then we're going to be shrinking that down. But yeah, let me know how your pain level, if it goes down at all. I'm going to continue.
It's been going down to about a 5 now.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. Let me know each time it goes. I'm going to increase that. I'm going to fill it with light and a lot of soothingness and safety. It's like a not just an attack on you, but your timeline. It's trying to lessen how long you're here, and then it's trying to distance you from people. So okay. Press and back onto the person. They're gonna, it'll be interesting what happens after that, but you might end up on a do not fuck with list after this.
That would be
And yeah, you make some reality warping thing anytime this happens, like where you I'd start with the attachment you feel. Like if something's coming up with pain, it's an explosive force into your reality. So you're then compressing it back into the center, back like through space and time to the original person that like is doing that, and then you're amplifying their pain until they stop, and you ramp it up in if they don't, I like to do this with love first, but like you're in a case where they're already trying to kill you and other people, so obviously not responding to that. So then how the dark will have their heart shut down. Mostly you can still turn it on, but in this case they crossed your line already, so you can just put all their energy back at them, and then it compress into like them every time. The more they usually like initiated a command to initiate a bunch of their energy to take you out. So while they're doing that, doing other things, it then gets reverted back onto them. It starts causing them agony with the like, oh, stop what you're doing, stop doing this. It will make it obvious. And if they don't, then they cause their own destruction. And if you want to unite with Earth and the source within all sources in your heart to do this, because there's a fine line, like on the razor's edge, having to do with this and any type of cursing energy type of thing.
Yeah. I work hard at staying gray rather than black.
Wonderful. Yeah, and this is like, you don't get any karma for protecting yourself.
Self-defense makes you gray because the white ones won't even defend themselves.
Well, it depends if you're like really good at, because as long as you're maintaining the awareness that this being that's attacking me, that's trying to kill me, is still me, is there, you'd like look at the scenarios in your like inner council of like, oh, is there any way I can like bring this being to a come to Jesus moment or something like that? And then if it's like, nope, nope, no, that doesn't, like in your precognitive awareness, then the light won't have any getting butthurt about you doing things like that, because they also have
I love
light
that phrase.
divine.
The light won't get butthurt.
Yeah. So like they have light destruction as well. Destruction is not just a dark ability, it's dark mostly in people's perception because of the idea that death is somehow always evil. It's not. It's a necessary thing. Destruction is a necessary thing. Same thing with creation, reforming things. There's a lot of things that have gone too far, and there's in the moment, like there's like never an unhealable thing or an unsolvable problem. Eventually, like we would be constantly growing to eventually overcome it, but in the moment, it's not always like that. And then the longer we wait, it can cause more harm than good. It's like
Yeah.
you got to take out, remove some cancer kind of thing, and then otherwise it will keep spreading.
Yeah, I have a fire elemental who gets annoyed. She says I tolerate things too long.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, I'm trying to be good, and it's like, well,
Yeah, it's, you know, if I don't have to destroy it, I don't want to.
exactly. So that's like that
And
99%.
and she's like, it's a gnat, kill it.
Right.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah. If anyone's ever like, oh, I don't know if will this take away from my good and all that, make it part of your councils of light wisdom keepers, having to do with the lightest versions of yourself, Earth, the source with no sources, your source, higher self, your divine fetus, all the things, the sun, and like then ask them, okay, is this being crossing my line enough to like get your kill switch engaged, and like rate that from 1 to 10. And if it's not 10, then you can use other like degrees of preventative maintenance or deterrence.
Mhm.
And if it does, then you have all green lights to go. And that then goes to locomotion. But like as you gain more abilities, you can like have more capacity to heal, and then it becomes less things that you need to destroy. But there's a lot of mind control. There's like crazy amounts of corruption, things that will just compress a whole bunch of evil. Pure evil has a lot of things to it. There are some purposes to it, though it's mostly like that dragon to like force a bunch of people to become the heroes that otherwise wouldn't exist, that then create a great evolution for both light and dark. And dark in its original form is supposed to compress all, like if you were to see it like divine feminine in the middle, like birthing her new self, masculine divine masculine being on the outer perimeter, like shielding and holding space, protecting and compressing all like darkness, similar to ego, the shadow, all that, compressing that down and becoming immune to it, so that she can rise into her fullest. And then everyone have that in themselves too, with your light coming into purity, oneness and unity with everything, and then accessing more of their divine self, and then resilience, strength, and becoming immune to different external sources. Of course, the dark will then get overcome super easily, at least of the two of them, and then get corrupted more easily and off balance. Then that is what most people know as darkness into the evil spectrum of polarized antithesis to source.
Okay, my understanding of darkness is a little different from most.
Yeah,
Yeah, that 3D reality requires there be a 50-50 balance between positive and negative, and that the creation of the light automatically created the dark. That they both have to be here. You cannot eliminate either, because if you do, everything falls apart.
agree.
So I come up with that, and people are like, their jaws dropped open, and they're like, "Where the hell did you get that?" But it's the underlying mechanics of quantum mechanics is everything morphs from the magnetic, which is the negative, to the electronic, which is the positive, and then back again. It's this constant dance between the two.
Yeah.
And
Yin yang.
we have to keep that dance going if we want 3D reality to exist, even if it is an illusion.
Exactly. Yeah. Light and lack of light. So they're one and the same, all connected for
Mm-hmm.
various reasons, and polarity is a large part of nature and humanity and what we're here to do, and becoming a super hybrid of angels and demons in one body, and then ending many wars throughout the multiverse, all here faster and faster, and then the war between good and evil. And does that have to go on forever? Well, it hasn't. It's they've had to come to peace in the past to take on a bigger enemy that was invaded, is my
Exactly.
stake on it. We don't have to be at war. Our light, dark, neutral do not have to be war on this planet if we come to peace, take on the bigger things that are doing the Machiavellis and divide and conquer. It depends how much we push that back, macroly, to, like, from the Earth to the everyone in the solar system uniting, including all the planets, eventually the whole galaxy uniting, and then all that. But that's whatever, because we're waiting on a bunch of people that are zealotous in both light and dark,
Mm-hmm.
false light and, deep darkness, that isn't true darkness.
Yeah,
But
and these folks are so convinced, brainwashed that their side has to win, that they don't realize both sides have to continue. And once you understand that both sides have to continue, for me, the fight just dropped out. There was no longer a war. And that's when I started realizing other people didn't like hearing that come out of my mouth. I love the look on your face right now. I don't get that from you often.
Yeah, and it's like, it's hard, like, dealing with people who have the mind control, like, it has to be this and this. It's like, well, who told you that? And
Yeah,
then, like, here's some more examples of that not being true. Yeah. But how's your pain right now, just to check in?
it's down to about a 3.
Cool, I'll keep going.
I haven't tried to get up and walk. But yeah, sitting here, I'm doing a lot better.
I'm so glad. We'll see if we can get resolve that by the time. I'm finding a lot of the beings behind the curse, like, because there's like more than just, because it's mostly one physical person and then attached to like a lot of negative entities. A lot of the negative entities are more able to be, like, I can turn their love on successfully. So
Good.
they're then, again, resolving their stuff. So this is working out for the 99% that we can get to stop through love. So wonderful.
Good.
Um, so yeah, so like on my other question, and then I'll like give you some of the time core response. Um, when I found them trying to take me over and do a bunch of bullshit to like make my timeline towards what they wanted in control, either they wanted to control me, corrupt me, or take me out. At the last thing, before they lose entire control, they like step in a lot into my game to do that, at risk to their own self and everything entangled with that energy harvesting chain. And they've tried to prepare to like send their minions to separate themselves, but that doesn't work entirely.
No.
So like for you, I've had, so
I've had like a bunch of things try to stop my heart and interrupt my timeline quite a bit. So like the dark time travelers, anytime they like enter my game, though, I then like they enter and then I like get in them into a trap, resolve their things, and then if I can't heal them, then I'll send them somewhere. There is like a thing where anything they learned, I then become immune to, and then I learn how to do it in my internal version myself, and then I can outcreate them. So you, seeing as a lot of things stepped into your game, including like Nazi party, some of the Nazi faction groups and control, the elite, the Draco, and some Greys and other species. They've entered your game, so you.
Oh yeah, they've
Becoming
entered
immune
my
to them.
game.
So
They've
what have
entered my
you?
game big time, and I sit there and I'm like, and what the hell do you think you want now? and they're like, but, but, and then I will point out to them all of the crap they've pulled on me and say, and why should I trust you? And they give me that look that you just had. And they go, okay, she has a point there. So they generally straighten up their act for a little while. And when they start getting out of line again, then I point out to them what they're doing wrong and why I should not trust them.
Are
And
you talking about the Nazi faction?
on what?
Which ones are you talking about?
Um, the Anunnaki group I have basically booted from my life because they are completely untrustworthy. The Draco, the Queen Mother says that she owes me a life debt and that it is her honor that is at stake. So when she starts being manipulative, I call her on it. And no, I don't trust her, but I haven't exactly booted her out yet either. I have been using her against the Nazi faction. They're afraid of her.
Okay.
Come on, if you got them, play them, right? And the Nazi faction out there is not really Nazi, but they are right now they're running scared because the galactic government is chasing them back to the solar system. So they're looking at whatever options they have left, and they see me as more than a lieutenant. They see me as more than a navigator, but they're not telling me how they see me. I mean, they rescued me from the Anunnaki, and they lost a ship doing it. So they have to see me as more than a lieutenant. Otherwise, I would not have been worth losing a ship over. I mean, that's simple logistics, isn't it? You don't lose a whole ship over a pawn.
Yeah, I've run across that too. They'll like purposely say one thing to like get you to believe that they don't think of you highly, and then their actions speak other different things.
Yes. So that's what's going on there. And they apparently think I'm an ace in the hole. And they did tell me that they know I'm talking about them and to tell the good with the bad. So I've been honoring that. That was a reasonable request. It was like saying, yeah, we know we're dicks, but we're not always. So I've been honoring that and telling both sides of them. The other people that I have to deal with are the various Earth spy agencies. And I just recently found out one of them that I thought had been disbanded in 1945 is still ongoing. The Office of Strategic Services. It's still in action.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it gets interesting, don't it? And my space altar that I have the most bleed over with, my commanding officer just went batshit, decided he was going to free Earth, and I, as navigator, had to stop him from nuking the United States from space.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's been a real trip. Yes.
So
And
how's that?
I didn't feel like a hero for that because I got the hell beat out of me 3 nights in a row. And yes, I saw the face of the man who was beating me, and no, I don't blame his here and now Earth self. So I'm not going to be saying on air who he was, but I know who he was there. So it's weird living several places at once at the same time and having your awareness flip between them. But you have that same experience, don't you?
Yeah. What are the factions that are still trying to interact with you in a dominating way that you would like to see not be able to do that, or to be them have you on your do not fuck with list, or even to the degree where you free a bunch of them and cause a rebellion?
ICC.
What have they been?
That was who was beating me up. They beat me up 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
What is what do they do with? Do they abduct you?
They abduct me and they don't use me. I'm not part of their faction, but they abduct me from Earth and beat the crap out of me. And I would like to be on their do not fuck with list.
Do they have like clone bodies of you and stuff?
No, they're taking me.
All right. Are they like? Okay, one second. I'm trying to look at their authority, because if they don't have authority to take you by like parts of you stolen or energy, all that, then they have less of a time to be able to find you, and then we're going to go back in time before they.
I don't know that they have any authority over me.
Okay, so do they take you in physical body, or do they put your consciousness into a body that you have of yours in DNA?
From what I experience, it's my physical body from here. Or they pick me up from the ship I'm on with Nacht Waffen, and they pretend I'm a prisoner of war. And the last time they had me in a psi cage where I could not defend myself. And the fire elemental friend showed up and melted the psi cage.
Okay. There's a bunch of entanglements. I'm gonna see which ones don't need to exist. Narrowing down, because it will exist until you have enough energy to like go back and stop it, and then make enough of a motivational chess move to say of no, no means no, to where they all stop. So I'm seeing seems to be more of a USA faction too.
It's a USA faction, yes.
Yeah, stuff with the satanic aspect of the military as well. Let's see what we got. Draco oriented too. So it's not one of the main factions, at least more of the nicer ones, not one of the Yeah, so one of the darker factions, you have yeah, please, like as a person, you're in the United States now too. It's like, feel free to get rid of them. So
Okay.
that's how this works.
Feel free to get rid of them. Yes, okay. I will take that under advisement.
They'd be hard to get rid of out of the reality. So it's a chess move of internal faction rebellion. So I'm looking at the projects that you'd be involved in, and then like, oh, okay, this is a negative project. So through your entanglement, in their entanglement, you can then take down their project out of. Okay, I'm reading it. If you try to take down the project, it would just be replaced. So the idea is to convert it from a dark to a neutral. To if that doesn't get them to detach, then it usually does. You can bring them all the way to light, and you can essentially gather the authorities. A lot of like the ones you're in. Let me see if I can talk about this.
I know that I have altars that I have no idea what they are involved in. I have 2,200 altars, and I have memories from about 40 of them. So the rest of them could be doing God only knows what.
The projects seem to be like having to do with authority. God, I'm trying to be neutral because I don't want to give away stuff having to do with you. So it has to do with like oracle abilities, looking glass, fate, trying to target you for that. And then a really high powered spirits is what they're looking for. There's a bunch of different projects the super soldier community will go into. It's similar to like when they name it after a high powered being, like Project Ibis that Max Beers went into. It's an example of they're looking for gods that incarnate into humans, and they're
yes,
a
there
project
are
that
some.
and then there's ones for like high powered individuals in the past, ones for like looking for psionic overpowered people, ones that are good at science, for the brain drain, engineers, all that. Yeah, it's one of those. I'm not going to specify. Then,
Okay.
So then,
Daryl?
okay, so
Already.
So anyway,
Daryl, you need to turn off your video.
okay, so I forgot what I was saying. Okay, so how's your pain?
My pain is pretty much gone now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep going that up. Update me on how it is. We're gonna transform it all into healing energy. Anytime it comes up, practice your pain transmuting ability into healing energy, and then it's gonna make you even healthier. And yeah, near-death experiences, like people can mine those. So every time you have a near-death experience, it can make you even more psinically powerful, with a lot more going on. So using anything that was thrown at you to make you stronger against it, and then you have more, but only once you heal all the fractures and you put up the safety, the offense, the defense, all the stuff, the root, to where you have a stronger foundation that can't be broken apart, and then you can rise up into light even faster and have that space. So use everything they throw at you to make you stronger, and then you can collapse their dark empire. If you're trapped, you can just set up the trap. There's a lot of setting up boundaries, your dead man switches, like, oh, if you cross this line, then you're agreeing to all this stuff. Initiation in like commands for it too. how's altars been, and like you noticing with the communities?
Oh my God. I read a book last summer at Eric Hecker's house, The Most Holy Trina Sophia. And I started shifting altars like I was a Rolodex. And in late January, early February, a entity appeared and told me that he was the reset button and that he would re-index the altars and have it where that I would have the memories, know which altar they were attached to, but be able to go from one altar to the next with the memory so that I would have continuous memory while remembering which one did what. And I'm in that process. It has, I'm able to maintain one altar better now. So when you're watching my interviews, I might have 2, 3 altar switches. I was having as many as 20 in a single video, and I'm down to 2 or 3. So this is a major improvement. I would like to reach the point where I'm not shifting uncontrollably, where I'm like continuous and that the ones that I have reintegrated don't shift so much as share awareness.
Okay. Yeah,
Does that make
I
sense?
wish that for everyone that has those. It sucks. Are they flipping because they want attention, or are they getting triggered at specific times to have a chess move in your life?
Both.
Mm. Which
It's,
ones have you? Okay.
it's like none of us have control over it anymore. It's just happening.
Mm.
And I had to go back through and watch my own videos to know what the hell I had talked about. And I've watched myself interrupt people and say things that were just completely off the wall. And it's been embarrassing that I'm doing this on air. I mean, it's bad enough I'm doing it at all, but I'm doing it on air for the public to see. Although, as Lou put it, Lou's my partner, Lou said, this is proof that you are what you say you are. Because this is happening on air. You have no control. And so it's proof that you have alters. It's proof that you have survived mind fracture. It's verifying your story. So I haven't edited any of it out. I've been just being honest and putting the record out there. But Dan, living through it, it feels almost like being drunk.
Yeah.
Without the buzz.
No feeling. Used to have it a lot more, and I read a bit on it, and then just interviewed my alters and seeing what's going on with them when they're created, who's involved in them, a bunch for mind control, a bunch like fractured, made specifically to like, okay, so I had a bunch when I was like captured into this void space prison. A bunch of them made in fracturing. Specifically, I was like being, I got memory wiped and like, oh, you're just back in reality. And then I was like going through whole lives. Some of the purpose of the lives was to literally mine abilities. They would like get me to like go through like all these scenarios that were like normal life and meet someone special, fall in love, and then them die in front of me, and then forced to have some outburst of energy with influence to like, oh, you can bring her back or something, like, and then to
Did they let
So,
you bring her back?
like a few of them were geared towards like it's not the worst wound, but she's bleeding out. You got to learn how to do some miracle healing. I ended up doing that in a few of them, and then like them trying to drain it, and then steal the ability, and then put after all that, then they would wipe my memory again, put me in another life of then falling in love, and then whatever they could get out of it, and then when they ran out of that being affected, they would move on to another one, including like retrieval of a soul, and then like super strength to stop something, or telekinesis to like freeze something, a bunch of like, and then they would steal my ability is how that went on, and it was annoying, and then eventually it was torture after I remembered enough to like realize this is a simulation and then get out of it, and then it was torture, and then fighting things, and then I overcame those, and then eventually depression, then like asking for help, and then love, and then uniting everything there, and then getting help.
Well, the depression is one of the hardest things to deal with, and it's rampant through our community. That's super soldiers and SSP. The depression is just rampant, and it's just part of why we fight so much is because we're in such internal pain ourselves. And
True that.
I was, through the last few months with dealing with all of the shit, I was seriously considering just walking away from it all and going offline entirely. And this last conference really perked me up, because I wasn't the keynote speaker, but the keynote speaker knew who I was. And the other speakers in my community all knew who I was and treated me like I mattered. And I'm sitting there in a wheelchair because my hips had given out. And I could walk short distances, but I couldn't walk across the hotel to get to where the conference room was.
Can I read
And
into your legs as well?
do what?
Can I read into like what might give you strength in your legs as well?
Sure.
Continue.
It was, to me, I felt completely humiliated that here I was, and I was coming to this conference, and I needed to talk to people. And at the same time, I was so disabled there. And it looked to me like I was being taken out. And yet the people from our community came around me, and they came to my presentations, they listened, they were supportive. I was only charging $7 for the booklet I had, and they were giving me 20 for it, and it was really a supportive experience. And I've already been asked back to the next one, so that was like, whoa, cool. I show up in a wheelchair and you still want me. Awesome. So
They will want you. You're amazing.
thanks, Sean. So I wasn't even getting into the deep stuff. I was just doing mapping the secret space program and describing what you can expect to remember if you remember being part of us. The common experience. And a lot of people didn't show up to it because of the lockdown and because of travel restrictions and stuff. But for the numbers who were there, I got a lot of support. And that made me feel like, well, okay, maybe this is worth doing. And I've gotten a sponsor as of last month. And that matters too, because, you know, you have to replace the computer and the video camera and the mic and all this other stuff as you go. And when I'm on Social Security disability, you know, and so if my partner died or left, I can't even cover my rent. So, you know, it when you start looking at all of this stuff and you're going, you know, this is really getting hard. And it took going to this and getting that kind of in-person support to pull me out of the worst of it. So, and since then, I interviewed Doris. She's a CIA data entry clerk who did my file into the computer. And I interviewed my commanding officer that I'm serving under now in space. And between the two of them, it's just explosive. And so I'm glad I did come back and do, because those two on their own mattered big time. And now with you showing people how psionic abilities can release these curses and pain levels and really just do the work. And this isn't magic. This is the abilities that humans have, or at least some humans have. This isn't pull it out of your ass magic. You know, this is
That's important though. Like the pulling out of the ass is it's the funnest part.
I love your sense of humor. You get me. Yeah.
Like how like people need to learn how to take the stick out of their ass and transmute that into the magic. That's how we do it.
I knew I was going to.
The product on my site. If you want your stick out of your ass, take it. I can help you.
Okay, we have about 20 minutes, 25 minutes left. If you want to tell us anything about your SSP or time core experiences.
Yeah, so your original question, will they let you die? If you take back all your authority from the people that are tending to own you, and you also put out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a lot of things that want you to survive. So
Okay.
so if you're like in a state of suffering and like you don't want to live anymore, please tell me, because I'll totally help you with that. It's like there's definitely a give and take between how much emotions we're going through and overwhelmed to where like, oh, I love life, versus like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. And then it doesn't have to be that. And if you're going through that, then there's something trying to get you out. And like I'd be sad if you went out of reality, but like there's like you make the reality way better just by being here. It's like an outrageous number times better. So there's a little bit of a give and take with the time core allowing any faction to want to bring you back. But you know there's a limit to that, and if you're like if you press enough buttons like nope, then you can leave. With that also, I'd detach their entanglement with you, their clones. So like just to go into your leg pain and you being able to walk again. Me reading what to help with that. 50% of it is stolen root authority and energy. I'll read a few things on that to help you get that back in straight, and then the rest is like physical body, lights, mission authority. That's mostly being taken, like 93% of it is being taken by things stealing your DNA and then making clones with it. I'm reading about 1 million clones that shouldn't exist, mostly Draco. I'm gonna help you go back in time and prevent that from getting stolen. They don't need to exist. Then that will like be put back into the timeline of, oh, you being fullness in the physical body. The rest can be resolved through trigger point therapy to different points of the joints. If you like, I got this thing that's like a hook, it's like an S-shaped hook. It's called Back Buddy. You can get on online like for $30. You can like hook into the part of the joint. If you hold it like a button, with stillness, extreme stillness, and the point of pain, the peak point of pain, and you just hold it there, the pressure will start to shrink down the pain. And as you shrink down the pain, you will release any pressure impinging on any of the other things that'd be involved in that. And as long as you're not like doing this weird, jiggling stuff, then it's fine. The pressure will be fine.
Yeah.
And then you just back out of it
I've done
slowly.
myofascial release, so it sounds like the similar.
Similar, you can do it yourself, get a back buddy, and you can just like do that. And if you want to release quickly, just go out slowly to not cause spasm. Then the 50%, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'd say 11 into the roots. So I'll tell you some root technology. I recommend you open up and reclaim any stolen authority with this. Your ground, so root technology: grounding, survival, resilience, camouflage, defense, offense, protection, infrared body, fear processing, loving detachment, material magic, instincts, pain processing body, and traps, and the shadow. Anything else? Yeah, so a few of those, if you resolve all that, like, and like that plus safety. So I'll like look back in your timeline when that start getting stolen. It's like right at birth. So it's like okay. So then
yeah, I know. Yeah, my parents were not safe. My husbands have not been safe. Lou has been. So I made progress. I'm actually with a safe person now.
Wonderful. I'm glad for you. So then you'd be doing time protection. I'd start with your birth. It seems to be as soon as the placenta breaks, there's like this targeting force that's trying to attach to your dream bubble of reality to interfere with it and program it. So you just go back in time. You can cultivate a meditation, hugging yourself and cultivating safety energy, like a big bubble around yourself, and then protecting the fetus. And your goal is to push that safety bubble through your timeline. The infinite light will be stopped by trauma. So you want to heal the trauma, release, give it love, what it needs. You face the emotions of the trauma until you shrink down and transmute all the emotions until they become the opposite of what they are. Like if it feels like not safe, then safety. If it's like anxiety, turn it into like like feeling wonderful and love and everything. Love contains everything, really. And then you just like push that light into the moment of now in your hologram, so that your infinite self meets up to the present moment instead of being stuck back in time. And you want to like definitely camouflage everything. Offense, defense. Your defense is pretty good. Offense is actually pretty good. Okay, say 1 second. 1, 2. Safety and 79. Okay, safety and destruction. Your destruction is pretty good, but I'd say it's a 5 out of 10 of what you need it to be.
Okay. I can destroy planets, and you think it needs to be more?
Yeah. Like specific would be purifying. How many? Okay, you're going into like getting greater amounts of authority for different elemental bodies you've unlocked. like fire, air, ether, water,
Mhm.
void, all the way down. And I like to spectrum them from lightest, less dramatic, to darker, more dramatic.
Yeah.
So you'd be gaining authority for different fires in all of these elements. And then you'd have that like a big tornado around you. And then you'd be like branching that to reclaim parts of yourself and anything entangling with
Um,
you. Gain that in like purification.
do you know that real world, if I get upset, then a whirlwind forms around me? Real world. I was at a friend's house and I was talking about something I was upset about, and the whirlwind formed in the yard and started tossing leaves under the screen door. And she looks at that and she looks at me and she says, "What kind of witch are you?"
Yeah, and you with the macro self like coming in.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
macro self was coming in, yes.
absolutely. One a good indication of that. Yeah, and you got more tech and you're earning more. I'm like being careful what I say about the destruction energy. So I'm like, oh, let's do that one, that version. There's also like light destruction, like with huge amounts of purification. But this one example, you learning and gaining and going through the mystery school of all and earning all the different types of fires, and then combining them all together for a bigger destruction. And that's again for the beings that won't stop and they're
Yeah,
not learning from anything else.
the ones that are working for a negative destruction.
And then you can make a big like
And what do I
connect
do
with.
about the ones that are working for a positive destruction?
Oh, like the false light beings.
Yeah, they're just as bad as the really dark ones,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because either way, we're going to end up with destruction.
yeah. I don't agree with that. The need for war is fucking yeah. The zealot, false light angel, other things like mostly with the false angels like in the Vatican and stuff. Um. Okay.
I put you
Yeah.
on the spot. I'm sorry.
So yeah, 99% of false light doesn't know it's false light. It is got some type of dogma that it's believing that can be resolved with truth. So you can cultivate a bunch of truth and explode it in lights like a big sun at them, exposing what they need to know. And then the 1% that's trying to puppet it all is false light evil, and they're really overpowered. And I they're really annoying. So
That's a polite way of saying it. Yes, they are really annoying.
yeah, so there's like different realms for remedying them, like false light antidote for evil. Uh, there usually needs, if you want to resolve them, it's like a unity equation. Don't do it by yourself. Like, oh, this is probably a big problem plaguing the entire planet. So you unite with the planet, everything on it, light, dark, and neutral. Get all their higher selves to agree, like, oh, let's shrink down this predator and get it out.
Okay.
And then yeah, expose their with truth. Yeah, and then whatever level that's needed to get them out, because it's probably difficult, and then that may need like light destruction on themselves. Yeah. So oh yeah. So if you guys want to reach me, I'm at psionicleague.com, Psionic League YouTube. Again, more projects, wanting to form schools for psionically inclined people, magicians, healers, everyone that wants to come together in community and expand the world, trade skills, make the planet a brighter place. And yeah, so contact me if you want to go in that. Can you put you plug your information on how to reach you, Penny?
Oh, I have a website, space portals with an S on the end of it, .net. And it is a forum, and I was foolish. I expected people would talk to each other, but instead they want me to entertain them. So I show up a couple of times a week and talk to whoever sent me messages or put something in the forum. So it's direct one-on-one access without dealing with fees or Facebook prying. And my IT partner and I pay for the costs. So if you wish to donate towards that, we'd appreciate it. I have a YouTube Nacht Waffen pilot with Penny Bradley, and I have a radio show here on Global Enlightenment Radio Network. I also have a show on Fringe TV on Roku, and it's also called Nacht Waffen Pilot. And I have trouble doing it because Roku doesn't allow me to cuss. So I'm sitting there looking at myself in the camera and I'm not allowed to cuss. So it gets to be a real interesting proposition sometimes. I have a hard time sitting there doing it. So anyway, thank you very much for coming. And we're going to have you back to actually talk about your SSD stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That'll be fun. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know how long you want to do the show.
So, Daryl, you have any questions?
All I can say at this point in time is I learned a lot. And number two, Penny, you're amazing. My man Sean's he's the monster. I mean, when it comes to seers, he can tear through the brick wall. And maybe one day I might need to have a talk with him about, the other day I was actually walking, I was talking to one of my friends, and Gary the Man Martian, okay, I'll say who it was. And okay. I was amazed because I was thinking, I was with my mother in a lot of these trips she had to take. And I was a little boy. And there's some time that I'm missing around the age of 5 through 6.5. Well, yeah, I know that I didn't go finish the kindergarten. I actually jumped into, when I was 6.5, I jumped into the 3rd grade. But there's some points in my life that seem to have disappeared. I mean, I remember names. I remember people. I remember what they, when we were kids, we would look like. It's kind of weird that right now at this stage of my life, and I'm looking back, there's trips that we took, like to California, to where the Wright brothers were over at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. There are trips that we took to Michigan, trips that we took to Chicago's, trips we took to New York, trips we took to Colorado, and I don't remember them.
Nothing about them at all?
I don't remember them at all. I mean, I don't remember. And then my mother goes, but hold on, this is kind of interesting. Then I was talking to Gary and I was telling him, how you say you back through time and all this information. And I'm thinking, hold on. And then I had dreams of being at these locations, but I don't remember them. You get where I'm coming from? And maybe there's a block there of information in my head, but I'm a kid. I should remember even today. I didn't remember it when I was younger, so I know it should have been an episode that I remember. I remember taking a martial arts class that my mother had taken at agency. Now, I don't remember finishing the class. And I'm one of those people that start something and finish it.
I'm going to inject here. The data entry clerk that I interviewed a couple of weeks back is Odin's mother. She worked for the CIA. So
yeah, there's a lot of information in my own head that seems to be blacked out, red taped. And that's why I understand Penny so well. And I can see her transformations. I mean, there was only one, maybe two during this show. But
yeah, I stayed pretty much me today.
Mm-hmm. But the point is that they need to disclose what technology or whatever it is that can do this wipe, because I know I did it. I was there. Hell, I know I got a medal. I know it because I see it on the wall, but I don't remember what I got it for.
Yeah, I have the same like difference between abduction and visitation. Like visitation can be more in your what you'd agree with past the memory wipe. If it's positive visitation, then it's like, oh, for your strategy, because as soon as we're here, we get things trying to scan into our thoughts and getting our strategy, and then out chess move us for why we're here. If it's abduction, yeah, then they do it without necessarily positive authority or stolen authority. Then if they want to make sure you don't remember, if they will bombard you with a lot of amnesia or blank slate memory, or there's a few different technologies I've tuned into it for it, a lot of it with machinery. And yeah, it will go past just forgetting that event of visitation, taking you out and back, because they got more advancedness in technology to make that seamless, like bring you back like 5 minutes, time travel and all that. But it will go past that moment and affect like a large scale amount of the events that happen around them. You won't be able to remember any of it. It's awful. That's more with the military or the abductions that you don't necessarily want to have, or if they really don't want you to remember. But it's usually not positive if they go past just making you forget the visitation.
Right. Because here's another one. I don't remember my kindergarten, my 5-year-old birthday when I turned 5. I know we had parties every year for my birthday. I look at the pictures. There are pictures there, but I don't remember it.
Makes a lot of sense. That when I was reading a lot of the visitations for myself and others, they would do the commonality. I would see common patterns of them doing it on the person's birthday or the night they go to sleep. And it's like, well, why choose them? It seems to be more of an organizational thing. Also, like there's some strategy and authority with it, and there's a deep change in a person every time they have a birthday in the year, around the sun and year. They don't just get visited by negative things; they'll get visited by their soul family, and so there'll be change in that person through that too, and then there'll be opportunists after that. May become aware of a person. Like I know people that get visited by their soul family, they come back with a bunch of upgrades, and then they start emitting like some rare energy or something, and then something around the planet may pick that up, and then like, oh, why do you have that rare energy? And then they abduct them, and then they monitor the person.
You're on point. I mean, I really don't understand. I remember Mr. Bob Bartow back in the day, and he took me and he was doing my star chart, and and he said, you can figure this out. He would put me in front of the computer. He was one of the quote unquote creation founders of the modern computer back in the day. And it's kind of interesting that he always said, just sit there and just figure it out. You need to know something? It's in you. I'll never forget his words. It's in you. Just figure it out. Those words were kind of spooky to me for many years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to say it's in you.
Mm-hmm.
The keywords
It
were
would
in
be.
you. So I'm trying to understand, honestly, a lot of aspects and things that have happened in my life. And yes, I'm sitting here and listening and learning, thanks to Penny. But on the other
Thanks.
side, every time I learn something, it leads me in a further, as they say, further down the cave. And that cave is kind of scary. Because there's a lot of missing elements. And I mean, the only way to understand those elements, yeah, I know, ask your mama. Yeah, I can ask her, but maybe I won't like the answer. Maybe the answer won't be enough for me. If I discover and I go through with the investigation of discovery, then I learn more. But then
Yeah,
there's the other side.
you'll own the memory if you do the research.
Right.
I'm finding that a lot of folks out there want me to tell them what happened to them, but they don't want to do the research to see what they remember on their own. And I've gotten to where I flat out won't tell them, even if I do read it on them, because they won't own it. They still won't have a memory.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't have the memory, it's just me bullshitting you.
Yeah, how do you get past that? I usually like tell them a little bit of hints because I don't want to project onto them, and then like, oh, go meditate in this emotion, and then here's like the age, and like, oh, you may have had this happen to you, and then I'll be like vague, but like, hey, feel into that, and then if you resolve the emotion, then the memory might come with it.
Yeah. Most of the memories will have a residual emotion with them. And even when they blank slate your memory, that emotion will still be there. So you go for the emotions, you go for the triggers, the things that you don't know why, but that talking about that topic always pisses you off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to look into. I mean, if nothing else, you'll resolve your shadow.
Hey, Penny, we got another show coming up, girlfriend. You know
Yes,
what to
we do. Ramona Speaks the Other Truth will be coming on next, I understand. So,
oh, yes.
and somewhere along the line, I have another video that's going to be aired. So thank you very much, Sean, for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
Yes, I do plan to have you back soon.
Honored. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. Really good opportunity.
And
Thank
Sean, you
Nice
were awesome, brother. You were awesome. I give it to you. Thank you.
for holding space for all this, keeping everything up.
Yeah.
And how's your pain?
My pain is gone, and I'm going to go for a walk and make sure that the hips are functioning.
Cool. I'll see if I can help you with your root wholeness and everything going on. But like, yeah, we're preventing that.
And I'm going to talk to you on Messenger about the stuff you held back. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
So
this was Nacht Waffen Pilot with Penny Bradley. And you can say, good night, everybody.
Good night.